Hello, it's Gavin with Coinfinity. Today I'm going to print one of these large slab bins. So let's take a look at the large slab bin. So first off, the slab bin needs support. It has a nice base on it here that's a little different. So this base, you can see it's got a little bit of a shallow spot there. It has these things that stick out the bottom, and these go into the base, and so because of that it needs a little bit of support here on the bottom. I suppose you could print it without support. It might be a little stringy along the bottom here, but it's not too bad if you have a AMS, or I guess you could do it even if you didn't, because it's just one little layer. There's just one support interface layer here, but I have an AMS, so I'm going to use PLA as my support interface, and then we'll print the whole thing in PETG. So let's get to it. So since we need to use support, we're going to have to cover up the magnet wells, right? It's floating in the air now. Let me lay it flat here. Okay. So it's pretty big. It needs to fit sideways on this plate. It just doesn't fit the other way. So get it on your plate. It's about as big as a thing as I can print, I guess. This is the 1x4 slab bin. And so if you turn on support, see it's on, and I don't want trees, I just want normal. And I need to change my printer. Hold on, let's switch to my X1. Let's see, this one? Yeah. Okay, let me sync it. Okay, so synced. Now let me sync the filaments. I don't know why they did this on the new one, but shouldn't it bring in more? Let's check it here. Device. See, it's got the 4, so I don't know why it does that. When you sync it, why it doesn't bring in these 4. Seems strange. I thought it used to work that way, right? Overwrite. I mean, where's my 4? Sync it. They're there. So it's just weird. Just different in the new UI, I guess. Okay, so anyway, if we make this, it should be PETG. I'll put my PETG in slot 1 here. So let me just change this. I don't know if it's going to let me. Yeah, bamboo PETG there. So 1's PETG HF. We'll make that our primary, and then we'll change the raft interface to this black PLA. Okay, and then let's slice it. And it's going to fill the magnet holes. We're going to have to fix that. So you can see the base. It's going to do a nice PETG base, and then put a PLA layer on top of it, and then put the rest of it on. So that should work out pretty well. I don't want to support this badge, and we got to leave the magnet holes unsupported. So if you scroll down here, you can see it's going to fill these with support, and we don't want that. So we need to add a blocker there for each of these magnet wells and this side ring so that it doesn't put support there. So not hard to do, just let's click the part, right click, add support blocker cylinder. So we'll put that right, it was right about here. Let's make it a little bigger, probably right about there. And then I'll just copy and paste and make 4 of these. And then we'll reslice and see if we got it in the right spot. And it looks like it's a little wider. So I missed this corner, Looks like it's uniform, so if we can remember that, like a little more uniform, like so. That should probably do it. Let's see. And my used to might be to be in a little bit more. Here and here. There we go. See, all 4 of them are clear. So if I go up a few layers and see what's going to happen here, right there, it fills it in. So we'll go right to that layer right there where it fills it in, and we'll put a pause. It puts a pause right before that layer. So it'll do that before that layer, and we'll be able to put the magnets in there. All right, and then it should continue all the way up, and you can see it's still supporting that side piece. And we don't want that. So let's add another blocker. If you click on it, let's just add a cube, and we'll move it over here, and then we gotta move it up. Let's get our perspective right. Make it just a little bigger, and then make sure we get it in the body here, right there, just blocking that circle. That should do it. Let's slice. Okay, so that looks good. It's unsupported. The inside looks good. We got our pause, got our bottom support layer with our shifting interface, so it should be good. Let's check our infill on the part. So let's see, we're doing rectilinear. I want to do, that's the support interface, so it should be good. Let's see, so quality, we want arcane, and then For our infill, we want gyroid. Not much in this piece, right? I mean, there's not much infill. Be mostly in the bottom. And then speed is fine. Support is enabled normal. And the only other thing is to make sure these are 0. This should probably be 0, 0 since we're doing a different filament type. And then the other thing is we don't want a prime tower because it'll try to mix PLA and PETG into a tower, which those two don't mix. So we don't want to use a prime tower. So if you go to global, other, make sure this is turned off. And then to compensate for that, we need to do a little bit more flushing. So if you click on flushing volumes, when we go from PETG number 1 to PLA number 4, right here from 1 to 4, we need to flush a little bit more. So let's up this to say 500. And then same with when we go back from 4 to 1, you can see it's at 600, and that's fine. So let's just make it the same on both sides. So 632, 632. So anytime we switch from filament 1 to filament 4, or from filament 4 to filament 1, it's going to flush quite a bit of volume through there to make sure it's clear. And it's not going to do that, you know, with a prime tower or with any infill, because the different types of filament just don't mix. So that should do it. Let's save. Let's slice this. About 6 hours, not too bad. It's a pretty big bin, so it looks good. Let's get that going. I do need to go and change the filament. It's in my external right now, and if I'm using my external, I can't use my AMS, right? So I'm gonna take the spool out of my heater and put it in slot 1, and then print with it there. So I'll come back here in a minute and start this, but change this on my printer, and then I'll come start it. So, all right, thanks. I'll show you how it prints soon. So take a look at this. It's printing the support interface. So that's PLA. The black is PLA, and you know I'm printing the whole thing out of PETG HF. So that, if you notice, it doesn't really stick. See how it's kind of not sticking? But that's the point, right? It's enough so that it creates a layer that doesn't stick. So hopefully, you know, the next layer of PETG HF sticks well enough to where we'll have a nice bottom surface. But we'll see how that turns out. Just wanted to kind of show you. I've got my PETG HF over here, and I got my black PLA over here. So in just a bit, it's going to stop, and we're going to put some magnets in. I'm going to try something a little different this time. I didn't modify this model to take the magnet caps, so I might put a little glue on top of the magnets and let it dry a little bit, and then just see if the PETG will stick to them. I haven't done that before, so since I didn't modify this model, and this PETG might not stick to the magnets, I'm going to try the glue technique. Not super glue, but you know, like glue you'd put on your build plate. So in a little bit when this stops, we'll try that out. This doesn't work. This is the problem with PETG and magnets. So I will have to redesign this and make it just a little bit thicker and add that, you know, that magnet layer. The magnet caps, so we can put the caps on, because that's not going to work. Let me check the base. It's probably doing the same thing. So the base is ready for magnets, but man, it's going to do the same thing. So I should probably just stop this and redesign this print, because I don't have any other solution. You know, it just doesn't work with PETG. It ends up with a crappy surface. So that's what I'll do. I'll take you along. We'll go into the video and I'll redesign this part together too. All right, so here's the model for that extra large stacker. So I added the magnet caps. You can see right here. So this is the magnet and this is the cap. So this is obviously upside down, but you know, you can flip it there. I mean, now it's upside down but right side up. So anyway, yeah, I added these caps and I made this lid just a little thicker. It needed another millimeter with that cap there. but it should be good because there's quite a bit of space between the top of the cap and the inside of the lid. And so I think it'll look okay. It's in translucent here so I can see the caps, because normally you can't see any of that, right? It's all inside. So if you go translucent, I can see the magnets and the magnet caps there. So anyway, that should do it. The nice thing about the way that I designed this stuff is it's like a base, and so all the actual, like the assay holder here, it just inherits from that base. See, it's derived here from that base, the bin base. So that's kind of the starting point, and then I just add, the rest of the stuff into it. So same with the slab holder, it has the same base. So when I make that change to the base, it applies to all of the children, or all of the derived parts, which is pretty cool. It's a cool feature of Onshape. So anyway, all right, I added those, and so they should be good to go. Let me double check this is the 1x2 base. Make sure I've got that in this one too. Look at translucent. Yeah, there's my caps. It's a little thin right there, but we'll see how that turns out. I don't think I made this lid any thicker. Let's see, it's 14 millimeters. Yeah, I think the other one was 15. Let me check that. Yeah, I made it a little bigger. So why don't we make them the same? Since this one's a little bigger, might as well make them the same. So let me go to this one, and let's just make that lid 15. And let's see what it does. Like, does it increase the space? Looks like it increased the space here. So in essence, we can change that magnet. Grab it here. And so it's drawn on this side, and it's extruded 4 millimeters, and it goes up 9.25 from this side. So we can push a little further. Let's go like 9.5. So we moved it 1/4 of a millimeter. And so on our cap here, we want to go another half. So let's do 9.5, or 1/4. I mean, so yeah, there you can see it's about what we want. Gives the cap a little bit of room, and it overlaps the magnet a little bit. All right, and then we just need to make sure that it's doing them both. You see, that's the inner circles and the outer circles. So if you didn't do them both, it wouldn't put this space here, It would, it's hard to tell, but it would make this hollow and then this hollow, but you'd have this little piece in here, so we got it. All right, so now let me just export these 1x2s, and I will, so it'll update off the base. All right, it's updated, and let's export it. I keep calling these bins, but it says box. Might as well change that finally to actually say bin. Edit this text. I like bin. It's a bin. There we go. Okay, let's say bin. Let's export it. Bins. This is the 1x2 assay bin. And then we'll do the slab. It's the slab bin. I guess we could call it bin too, huh? Okay, let's export that. It's our 1x2 bin slab. And then we had the assay one, and then just the base is the bar bin, and the miscellaneous bin, same thing. So bar 1x2 slab. I don't have a bar. I guess it's just the bin base. I'm gonna do I think that should do it. See, I updated the base, the slab, the assay. Yeah, that's it. And then the lid. Yeah, I need to export the lid base. All right, that's it. So we'll print these and get them over to Bamboo and try that out. Redesigned this stacker to have the magnet caps in it. So here's the new one. Let's add those support blockers so that we can keep the magnets clear. So take some copies of that. Right about like that. Then let's add one for the badge on the side. Just add a cube. Raise it up right there. So it blocks that. Just a little bigger. Like so. Okay, let's save that. Slice it. Floating cantilever. Where? Oh, I don't think we have support turned on. So let's do that. Alright, and we want to do normal, and then we want to do this in PLA. So now we need to make sure everything's 0. Spacing should be 0. Let's do 3 here. No, on the top, I mean. Okay, that should be good. Alright, let's save and reslice that. Okay, so that's good. Now, I don't know why our support blocker isn't blocking this side piece. It should be. Let's check this. Shouldn't that be red? Let's try a different support blocker cube. Maybe I did an enforcer or something on accident. So let's move that up. Not really worried about the bottom, but let's just make it a little bigger anyway. Cover that whole thing. Okay, that should be good. Save, reslice. Okay, now it's not going to do anything there. Alright, so that looks good. We got our PETG with our PLA interface. You can see the black's the PLA interface. That should do it. And now let's check our magnet layer. Let's clear the previous layer. And so we go down to right there. That one layer where it covers those magnet holes. So we go to that layer and then put the pause. You can see it says at the beginning. And then the other thing, I want to use gyroid. I don't want to use this infill. It's like using adaptive cubic. I don't want that. Yeah, let's use gyroid. Okay, let's slice that. Okay, now I want to do this one on my X1 since it has an AMS. And I can use, PETG on one and the PLA on the other. So that should be good. That's all right. Let's reslice that. Okay, it's right there's our magnet layer. Should be good to go. Let's print that. Let's switch this to, there we go. Send that off to be printed. And I should probably check the flushing volumes real quick. This is complaining about, the mixture, which is true. Since I don't have a prime tower, I need to make sure I'm flushing. So anytime I go 1 to 4, I need to flush here, maybe like 500. And then 4 to 1, looks like I got 600. So let's make them the same, 632. Okay, so anytime we flush back and forth, and then our prime tower's off. If you look at global other, notice it's off. Because we don't want to mix PLA and PETG in a prime tower. It just won't stick. Alright, there we go. Let's resum that. Alright, and next we're going to print the lid, which is a little easier. There's no support or nothing. We just have to put in the magnet layer. So once this goes to the printer, we'll work on the lid. I can print it on my other printer. Alright, so we'll go, let's add a plate. But I had an extra plate for that. Looks like disappeared somewhere. It's weird. Because I had another bin too, the large bar bin. And this can be the large bin lid. Okay, so we'll add that lid, rotate it, move it around. So right about there should do it. And then, like I said, we don't need any support. We just need the magnet layer. So let's save. I'm going to print this on my P1S. It's got PETG in the external, so let's just leave it there. Make sure support is off. Yep. Let's make sure our pattern is gyroid. Don't want adaptive cubic. Let's save. Let's slice it. Alright, and then we'll go down to that. Here's the previous pause layer. Looks like we got to go a little further. Let's take that off. Let's zoom in. Get a little perspective, and then we'll go up layer by layer. So right there, when we cover it. So covers, pause. Okay, and then it'll keep going. It looks like we get what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, it should be a nice inner layer. It's got enough coverage there. We should have a nice lid. All right, let's print that. Slice. Print this on my P1S. I'm going to use that external. All right, that's it. Let's let those print, and I'll see you next in the printer. All right, so we got one more magnet pause here. This is the 1x4 slab base in the slab bin. So you can see now it has the bigger spots for the magnet caps. So it should be pretty straightforward. Let me get some magnets here. Remember, we want to do a little super glue just so it doesn't rattle at all later. It's just gonna keep everything from rattling. So just put a little bit in there. And so, and since this is right side up, we want to do the holes up. The lid, it's down, but on the base, the holes are up. You see, it does move just a little bit, and I think that's what causes the rattle, is just that tiny little shimmy. So I think the glue, prevents that from happening. So let's put the caps on. Got to pre-print these caps, so you've got some available. I've got a whole bin of them. Print a bunch of them at once. Just put these caps on. Try not to get any glue on my fingers. Those are perfect. Look at that. You can kind of see the depth here. You can see they're pretty flush. That's there, so cover those up nicely. And you can see the lid is over here. You can see it covered that up really nice. Beautiful surface on the inside of the lid. You can tell how big of a difference that is with using the magnet caps versus not using them. Alright, here's the large slab bin. I think it's just the lid. I'm missing the lid, so make sure I put these in right. So they go with the holes down and the lids, like that. So just going to put a tiny bit of super glue in each of these just to keep them from rattling at all. Caps on. There we go. That's it. Let's resume. All right, we'll see how that goes. You can see it covering it up. It's just perfect, Covers it up, and it's like it's not even there. It just goes on with the part. And they added a little bit of thickness, so it'll have a nice inside surface. It should be just beautiful when it's done. All right, we'll see you. I'm gonna go to bed. We'll see this in the morning when it's done. All right, look at that. It's our nice slab bin. Let's get it out of there. So, pretty sweet. These zoom out a little. Yeah, see this? Oh, look at this. Comes right up. I'll clean that up here in a little bit, but yeah, what a great looking bin. It's bad. All right, so yeah, the reason we use this PLA PETG, layer is it gives you a nice clean back here. So you just literally pull this right out. It's amazing, really. Look at that. Comes right off. Beautiful. Not a single issue. Wow. It's great. And we got the lid over here. Let's try it out. It's also just finished. We'll move these towels. Here's the lid. Right, just sitting here. Yep. All right. So, look at that. There's our beautiful new slab bin, and it's magnets here and here, so everything will stick to it. All right, so this bin's done. That's the big slab bin. A little mess up on the base, but it's okay. I wanted to show you pulling this off. Check this out. Right off, just like that. Beautiful. Nice base magnets. Beautiful. This will just come right off and get ready to print another one. Oh, so hey, before we redesign that part, got the lid here, and this is the one that messed up. That's not going to work. We'll have to put those caps in, but I want to get these magnets back out of here. And so this PETG is really, it's really brittle. So it doesn't take much. If you just give it kind of a whack here, 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 and here, these magnets should just pop right out. So check it out. Ready? There's one. See that? It just came right out. It's Let me get the next one here. See, it just busts right out of there. Very brittle stuff. I broke the magnet. Darn it. It happens. There's that one. See, it just busted right through there. And then let me get this last one. Oh, there it goes. Alright, so hey, 3 out of 4. Not bad. And hey, that's, 75 cents. I'll hold on to it. This one, you could, stick it back in there, but it's still good. If you get the poles aligned, you could probably stick that back into a part, but I don't know. See, it doesn't want to stick together anymore because it's so that's not going to work. All right, anyway, we'll get to the redesign that part now.